So I recently came back from a trip to Japan where I went to the 2025 Osaka World Expo. So I wanted to share with you my experiences and thoughts of the expo itself. What is the Osaka Expo? When I told people that I was going to see the World Expo, many people asked me, what is that? It's clearly not a popular event, even though it is an internationally recognized one. The very first World Expo was held in London in 1851. Held every 5 years, showcases the culture, lifestyle, and technology of the participating countries. With the host country changing every 5 years, Japan was voted to be the host for the 2025 World Expo. This was Japan's fifth time hosting some sort of World Expo, with the latest one being in Aichi Prefecture in 2005. So I had high hopes for this World Expo in Osaka, Japan. Now, this was my very first time at any sort of World Expo, so I allotted approximately 3 full days to enjoy my experience at the World Expo. The result? I called it quits after 1.5 days, but don't get me wrong, I had a great time at the World Expo, and I soon found out it all had to do with one thing: your expectations. This particular Osaka Expo had somewhat of a negative connotation to it even before the doors opened to the world, with worries that it was over budget, some countries not even finishing their pavilions on time, and so on and so forth. The general public had a lukewarm feeling to the overall expo experience itself, even before the doors opened. But that's not exactly what had affected me. So when I decided to go to the expo, this was probably back in December of 2024, I went to the website to buy a ticket. I thought I would buy a ticket and I was good to go to the expo when I was in Japan in June. So I went to the website, but I spent probably a good hour or two reading page after page, trying to figure out how to actually buy a ticket for the World Expo. This was not the easiest thing to do, even though the website was in English, or Japanese English, I should say, and that was probably part of the problem, because direct translation between Japanese and English is not always so easy. You can imagine that for an international event, an English-speaking person had difficulty trying to buy a ticket. So this is where my frustration actually began in trying to buy the actual ticket to go to the expo itself. I'm not going to go through the details of how you go about to buying the tickets, because they have actually changed a little bit since I was looking at them in December of 2024. But suffice it to say that miraculously I was able to buy an entry ticket to the expo. You had to create an Expo ID account. You had to figure out specifically which day you want to go to the expo, and you have to actually tell them which hour you want to enter the expo, in addition to telling them which entry point you are going to use to enter the expo. So after I bought that ticket, I thought I was ready to go, but I was sorely wrong, because the next hurdle is then to actually reserve the tickets to go see the pavilion of your choice. So how do you reserve a ticket or a spot to go see a pavilion? Well, that was my next hurdle, and truthfully, I just gave up because I was so frustrated with the long page after page of instructions, reading web page after web page. I just gave up trying to reserve a ticket for any pavilion, and I just decided to wing it on the day and enjoy my experience that way. This proved to be advantageous from a photographer's point of view though. I was able to freely roam around the grounds of the World Expo, enjoying the architecture, taking pictures of the areas, the people, and really not having to worry about being at a certain place at a specific time to meet my reservation. In terms of gear, I committed myself to using only one lens per day, with the exception of the night show where I used my Nikon Z 14-24 f2.8s lens. My camera of choice is the Nikon Z6 III. It's light, compact, and really I think it's the perfect walk around camera for me, and also it has the advantages of being able to use the flexible picture control, which I'm really loving these days. I actually think about 99% of the images and videos that I took in Japan was using some sort of flexible picture control. The first day I brought my Nikon Z 35mm f1.2s lens. I decided to take a wider approach and perspective to the World Expo on the first day, and the f1.2 aperture allowed me to create stunning pictures and videos with beautiful bokeh and drop-off that you just can't get with other 35mm lenses. In the evening, I did have my Z 14-24 f2.8s lens, which allowed me to showcase the expansiveness of the shows that I was watching in the evening. The second day, I brought the Nikon Z135 f1.8 Plena lens, and it also has the beautiful bokeh and drop-off that I wanted to showcase within the environment of the World Expo. While you'll see some of these photos and videos scattered around this particular video, I'll upload a separate video with more photos and videos that I took sometime soon. So at the end of the day, I believe I entered into about 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 pavilions over my 1.5 days at the Osaka World Expo, but none of them were the pavilions of my choice, the ones that I wanted to go see. And sure enough, those were the most popular ones, with lineups I've heard that could last as up to 5 hours. Now that is insane. 5 hours to enter a pavilion. That's practically half the day right there, just lining up to go see one pavilion. So forget that. I just decided to forego any expectations of seeing any of the pavilions. If some of them happened to be free and open on the day that I was there, then I would just go in and find out what that was all about. And that actually is why I ended up enjoying my experience at the World Expo. It's because I set my expectations well before entering the expo that I would not see any pavilions, and I would just strictly enter the expo, wander around aimlessly, enjoying the atmosphere and the people around me. And as a photographer, obviously, I took some pictures and videos, and it's because of that initial expectation that I set towards myself that I was not disappointed, and I actually ended up enjoying my experience for that 1.5 days. Now you may be asking yourself, what is with that half a day? Well, they enabled you to actually enter the expo after 4 p.m., which is the halfway mark. So you get a little bit of a discount if you decide to go for the evening portion of the expo. And that's becoming more and more popular as the weather in Japan gets hotter and hotter for the spring and summer seasons. So it is a little bit cooler after 4 or 5 p.m. So that is something to consider if you are going to see the expo yourself. So the first day I went was on a Friday, I believe. It was a weekday, so the crowds, although there was a big crowd, it wasn't as crowded as it could have been. I did notice that there were a lot of school children there, so there must have been a lot of field trips from local schools nearby in the Osaka area, or perhaps from even further. And that was actually fun to see and take pictures of the children and teachers and all, and the larger groups enjoying themselves wandering around the grounds of the Osaka Expo. Now, the second day I was there, I went on the Saturday evening after 4 o'clock, and that proved to be even busier than the first day because of all the events that were happening on the weekend. So with the larger crowds, there were so many lineups and lining up here and there and everywhere. Obviously, I did not line up to any of the pavilions. I just walked around to all the places that I missed in the first day, and I ended up taking pictures and whatnot throughout my time walking around the grounds, and as well as on the Grand Ring, which is the largest wooden structure in the world right now. So that was an experience in itself, and I highly recommend you do that too if you go to the expo. So despite not seeing many of the pavilions that I wanted to see, I was able to see the water show, the light show, the drone show, and even the fireworks show over my 1.5 days there. Now, what is the water show, you ask? Well, a large portion of the Osaka Expo grounds is covered by water, and this expansive area is where the water show occurs, and just seeing the sheer width of this water area is quite the feat, I would say. And to be able to perform that water show throughout that area was quite interesting, even though I did see it during the day. The height that the water spurts out is quite impressive, as well as the number of water fountains that are there in that area. So the light show happens twice every night. I believe one at 7 o'clock and the other at 8 o'clock, and it's about 20 minutes in length. But here's what I didn't understand about this light show. It's all in Japanese, and you can't enjoy the light show unless you're sitting or standing directly in front of the performance area, because you won't be able to hear any of the audio. Now, if you don't understand Japanese, then don't even bother reserving a seat for this event, because you won't even understand what they're saying. You can enjoy the actual light performance from the side view area, where you don't need to make a reservation. Now, I understand Japanese myself, but after watching this light show maybe about 2 or 3 times, I still don't even understand what that performance was all about, because I could barely make out what they were saying. I did not reserve any seats for the light show. I was watching it from the sides at one point, and I was actually watching it from behind at another point, so I couldn't really hear the audio. I just saw the lights projected onto the water show itself, and although it was quite impressive, I think it was a big miss for the organizers to actually have that light show only in Japanese and have the audio only available for those people who are standing directly in front of that light show. They could have done something else where everybody else could have enjoyed the show even more. Now, the drone show happened directly after the 7 o'clock light show, and it was actually canceled the first day we were there because of high winds and rain. But fortunately for the second night, the rain and winds had subsided, so I was able to catch the drone show. It was a very short show, probably about 5 to 7 minutes, although I do believe they set a world record in terms of the number of drones in one particular show. There was over 1,000 drones up high in the sky making different shapes, and it was actually quite interesting to see those shapes and how they morphed into other shapes like you're seeing right now. So that was quite interesting. The fireworks show, again, another short show, and that happens directly after the 8 o'clock light show, and it was nice. It was a nice way to end off the half a day that I was there for the Osaka Expo, and everybody else there enjoyed it as well. And fortunately, you don't have to be standing right in front of the performers to see either of the drone or the fireworks show. You can enjoy it if you're behind the main area or perhaps a little bit to the side itself. So overall, it started as a very frustrating experience to buy the ticket for the 2025 Osaka Expo. But once I did buy the ticket and set my expectations straight, I was actually able to thoroughly enjoy my experience at the Osaka Expo. Now, I do believe if you're a tourist and you want to see some of the pavilions there, you will have to put in some effort into booking in advance and seeing if you can get into those lotteries to get yourself a slot inside some of the pavilions. It does take a lot of work to try and get yourself in there, so set your expectations accordingly. But as a photographer, I thoroughly enjoyed myself simply just walking around the grounds of the pavilion, enjoying the different architecture that all the different countries were able to bring forth to the pavilions. I enjoyed taking pictures of them. Seeing all the people just sitting around and people watching was just fun in itself. And of course, walking and enjoying the Grand Ring, both on the top side and on the underneath side as well. So the key to enjoying the Osaka Expo is setting your expectations based on what you want to do there, and I do believe that you will enjoy yourself once you do that. Now, if I had lived in Osaka, I probably would buy the season's pass ticket, which allows you to enter into the expo an unlimited number of times for the duration of the expo itself, which is from April to October of 2025. So it is really that expectation that you set towards yourself which will dictate if you enjoy your experience at the expo itself. So have you ever heard of the 2025 Osaka World Expo? Do you plan on going? Let me know in the comments below. I'm very curious to hear what you think about it. And in due time, I will share with you some more photos and videos that I took from it. So I appreciate that. Be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching my video. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.